What's up, agency owners? Jason Swenk here, and I have another great episode where we're going to talk about how you can scale your agency rapidly without burning through a ton of talent. Because, all of us have been going through and going, how do we keep employees and how do we find the right talent? And on today's episode, I have a guest that's going to talk exactly about that, that's done this. So let's go ahead and jump into the episode. Hey, Robert, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Jason.
Yeah, so tell us who you are and what you do.
I'm Bob Glazer. I am I gotta get my intro right now because it's changed after 15 years. I am the founder and the chairman of the board of Acceleration Partners. Acceleration Partners is the largest global independent agency focused on managing partnership and affiliate programs for well-known and high-growth brands. We have almost 200 clients and I think getting close to 300 employees across eight countries, and we manage programs across 25 different countries.
Very cool. And so, how did you start the agency? What made you fall into this?
Like most agency owner, no, I don't know anyone who started an agency intentionally. I just, I started doing some work in the affiliate space. I found a lot of problems with it. I started helping a company fix its program. That company ended up being a huge success. It was called Tiny Prince, sold to Shutterfly for $300 million. People then spread out from that and started saying, "Hey, can we do that thing that you helped us with there?" And then I couldn't do enough of those, so I hired some people. So and sort of the rest was history from there. So we were very for years just all referral based, word of mouth. 15 years. It's really only the last 5 years that we've had kind of sales and marketing a little bit before that.
Yeah. So, what were some of the stages that you went through? In order, like obviously, you go through the referral stage, right? And you only can
Yeah.
get to a certain plateau. What? And I feel a lot of people listening to the show right now, are at that level, right? They're kind of
Yep.
plateaued wherever it could be at 5 million, 10 million, whatever it is. They're plateaued, but you have to do something different. What were the things that you guys did different?
We invested a lot in thought leadership, content marketing. We wrote a book that was the first in our industry called Performance Partnership. So we really focused on having great, someone told me the barbell strategy, having great marketing and having great delivery, which drove the word of mouth. Eventually, though, we were like, look, we don't want to sell or need to sell. Eventually, myself and Matt, who's now the CEO, who was the VP of Client Services, were just handling sales calls all day. So even if they were inbound, right, then you had to talk to these people, and we were, the people that called us, we answered the phone, but we weren't following up with them and checking in and the things that you need to do to keep a sales pipeline moving. So, eventually we sort of acquiesced and it was like, look, even if we don't want to be cold calling people, like this is a lot of pipeline to manage. But from the time we started scaling the sales and marketing team, and now with a fully integrated sales and marketing team, I mean, we will sell more this year revenue than we did in our first. Our revenue growth this year will be more than our first 10 years, right? Combined. So it takes a while to get those pieces working. I would, you can go either way. Again, it depends on the type of business you want to build. I wanted to establish our marketing before our sales, like get the demand going. I've seen the opposite approach work too, where you get account development and people calling and doing that. We had a really good referral pipeline, and we thought that the thought leadership would also help on the conversion of the people who were examining us.
Gotcha. So, what have you seen work to allow you to scale rapidly without burning through talent?
Yeah, look, it's hard in this business. Paradoxically, I would say, we started by sort of in the premise, 5 or 10 years ago, that people aren't going to stay here forever, and turning that into sort of an open conversation and having a productive alumni group. But we've actually always been remote. We focused on having sort of a world class culture. We spent a lot of time and energy on our culture. I've been in Glassdoor's best places to work a few years. And look, agency life is not for everyone. But what's interesting is people who come here from other agencies really say to us, this is really different. Some people, and a lot of people, realize agency is not right for them. That's not the work that they want. So we've done a lot to really screen the type of person who likes that fast growth, high pace. You are serving clients. If you don't like client service, probably not a great role. But they like the kind of unpredictability and working on something new and different. I think the biggest thing that keeps your talent around is investing in your talent and helping them grow and develop. That's one of the reasons we are a growth firm, and that growth has allowed for, I think we had 87 promotions last year or something like that, across our team. So for people to see that, oh, that person started associate and manager, and now they are a director or a VP, and that path is available to them. I think these days people leave for two reasons. They don't like their manager, maybe three reasons. They don't like what they're doing, or they're not growing or don't see a development path for them. I don't think anyone here is blocked. I mean, that's one of the nice things. If you grow 30% a year for a while, as we have, there's just new roles available every year. No one is blocked on their development path.
So when someone joins from another agency, what do they say is different?
I think that, look, there's an interesting expectation gap. I actually think the last year has really shown some almost generational gaps in the workplace. We didn't see it before. For better, for worse, I think some of Gen Z or people coming out now, I mean, they think a 35-hour, 40 work week is a work, that's the work week, and the expectation isn't above that. I think some people want to learn and be exposed to a lot of things and understand that they're going to have to do that. But I think the biggest difference. So look, there's times when there's a lot of work or when a proposal was due and clients are. But we generally want to solve these problems. We generally don't want people. They don't work weekends. They don't work nights. And so what I've heard people express is, I at other agencies, people just didn't care if I was working 18 hours a day, and they didn't, care if I was burnt out or working weekends. They're like, no one wants that here. No one's asking me to do that. But again, I think we all have to be honest, and this is the nature of the business. Sometimes if there's $1 million proposal and the client wants it on a Monday morning, someone's probably going to be working on that on a Sunday night. Like to me, that's the trade-off of flexibility. The other side is you want to go watch your kid's soccer game on a Friday afternoon, like you can do, like, awesome, go do that. So I think that's the biggest difference is people feel really supported. We are not celebrating. We actually talk culturally. We celebrate. We're a performance marketing agency. We get paid how well these programs do. So we talk culturally about, we don't reward working hard. We reward working smart. I've seen people work 100 hours a week and not get a lot done and really exhaust themselves and those around them. So I think that's I think that's the difference. If you haven't worked in an agency before, agency life can feel different. If you have, I think there's some ones who, again, it's a badge of honor to pull an all-nighter. And I don't think anyone's ever done that in the history of our company.
Yeah, I
Maybe
remember.
me.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's lots of people out there that talk about how much they work and how much they hustle, and that's really all they do, and that's perfectly fine for them. But you know, I know when I'm working with agencies, and I know when I'm running this business or the other agency, it's like, look, I want to do it smart. Like, I want to be able to maintain to take off, Monday and Friday, Saturday and Sunday, and only work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right? Like, that's what I want. And then you
Yeah.
have to figure that out. Like in our mastermind, we were chatting at the end of the year, we were talking about what are the things we're going to say no to in order to really like set the goal around time. Like your goal should be around your time, not
Yeah.
around money, because you always sacrifice money. And that always makes a big difference. Because I remember at a school I worked for Arthur Anderson, and that was like a badge of honor to see how many hours. Oh, you got 80 hours a week. Oh, I got 100 hours a week. I'd be like, you're an idiot.
We actually train around asking, why a lot. And when a client asks for panic for a ridiculous amount of things last minute, you go to them and you say, well, why do you need, well, my boss, I have a new boss starting tomorrow and I wanted them to have this 2 years of data. And you said, hey, how about we give them X, Y, and Z? And like, I don't want to reward the person spending 10 hours on something they didn't need to do because it didn't produce a better outcome and it exhausted them. If they could solve that problem in a half an hour by asking why, what do you need? A lot of times I think it's explaining to clients too what that means. Yes, we can chase those two new markets, but you realize that means that the core launch markets then aren't going to get the same support. And they'll say, whoa, can we do both? we can't. No. So we could either double the team or we could. I think a lot of times it actually, if you're an agency that provides great services, your biggest problem is that your teams don't know how to say no well, or sort of put a lid on scope creep, and they over deliver. And by the way, what happens when you over deliver an agency? I go look at the P&L at the end of the month, and not only is the employee upset, but we haven't made any money. So
Yeah.
that's a lose lose.
Well, yeah, and the clients are get overwhelmed by all the stuff that you just provided them, and a lot of times they get
Yeah.
confused, which means they're going to leave. So you just
Don't
burn out
assume
your
because they're
clients.
asking for something, it's the right thing, or you can't explain to them the trade off or explain the consequence. Again, they say, well, let's chase this city and that city. Are you okay if that deteriorates the results on the existing two cities? Well, if it's one of these things where it's 99.1%, and they say, oh, when you put it that way, I don't want to put those campaigns at risk, at all.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Robert, this has been great. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you think would benefit the audience?
No, yeah, just in terms of, I think thinking about where you want your agency to go in terms of determining how you want to run it, right? I think there are a bunch of different paths. Particularly, there are a lot of people exiting these days, and I think there's a specific set of things that you need to do and understand your industry if you want to move towards that outcome.
So, well, yeah, let's go over a couple of those. What's
Yeah.
important in your eyes?
Couple things, because you might hear from your friends who have SaaS businesses or otherwise, but agencies are sold on EBIT. They are not
Mm-hmm.
sold on revenue. They are not sold on customers or clients or other things. They are sold on trailing 12-month EBIT. So first of all, you can get over the fact that you haven't started a SaaS business, and your friend did, and he sold it for 10 times sales. And then you need, so I think the two things that I see really hurt the most. One is not having everything reliant on the founder, right? These are the things that impact valuation. Understanding that trailing 12 months EBITDA is the primary driver, and then having a proper cost accounting for your business. The amount of agencies I've seen who don't have their gross margins correct, who aren't putting the actual people cost of doing the works into gross margins, like, this is kind of finance 101. If the people are delivering the service, then that is, you can't say you have 100% gross margin and then operating expenses. It doesn't present an accurate picture. And I would also encourage everyone out there to if you're an owner operator, pay yourself a market salary in the business and then take the profit, so that you have a proper P&L. Because we've gone to look at businesses and they say their profit's $1 million in EBITDA, and then there's three founders taking $30,000 a year. Well, those financials are not accurate, and then you're very upset that your valuation is not going to be there. So those are three of the things I would really encourage people to do if they're thinking about an exit down the line.
What do you see the multiples being? And I've seen them as ranges. So
Yeah.
let's say you're under $1 million in EBITDA. What's the multiple?
Yeah, so I built a chart on this for marketing agencies. I'm happy to share it with you. So under $1 million in EBITDA, I mean, right now it's hard, but it could be 2 to 4 times EBITDA with a heavy earnout. Because again, under $1 million in EBITDA, the owner is probably the head of marketing, head of sales. I wouldn't expect to get more than 50% of that up front. I think 2 to 3 million in EBITDA these days, maybe 5, 6, 7. The first major inflection point is 5 million in EBITDA. And I think, healthy agencies at 5 million in EBITDA with recurring revenue, business are going for 10 times plus EBITDA these days.
Yeah, what we'll do is anything under $1 million in EBITDA is usually 1 to 2x EBITDA.
Yeah.
$1 million to $3 million is usually 4 to 6. 3 to about 6 would be a little bit more, and then if you're over the 10-figure mark in EBITDA, then it's really write your own ticket, depending on
Yeah, I
a
mean,
number of
they're
different things.
agencies over 10 million EBITDA or 20 million are getting 20 times earnings, some of them these days. But I think the point you made is really interesting. Again, this is why you need to focus on what your strategy is. The problem, it's hard to get one of those 1 to 2 time EBITDA deals done, because why would that founder sell when they could just have to hold on to the business for 2 years? But they haven't created anything beyond themselves that has value. In fact, if the earnings of that $1 million in EBITDA, and they are the head of sales, the head of marketing, head whatever, and that includes $400,000 of things that you need to pay for other people, then it's really 600,000. So that's the problem. That's why those deals don't get done, because it's hard to, if I'm the seller, do I want to give up why would I, you wouldn't give up one time EBITDA unless you saw your business was going to collapse in a year. But even two, you say, if I just held on for 2 years. So
Yeah.
if you want to get real value for your business, it needs to be a valuable business beyond yourself. And the more that you can take yourself out of functions, when you start having a marketing person, when you start having a salesperson, you're not on all the sales calls. These are the things that might get you up to a 2 to 3 from a 1 to 2.
Yeah, my partners always get mad at me. A lot of times I talk people out. I'm like, look, you know, you're not worth what you think you're worth. And if you are worth what you think you are, like, why do you want to sell? Like, you're already like, there's lots of mastermind members that we've gotten to the level where they're the chairman and they're not in the day to day and they're
Yep.
getting millions of dollars every year. So why would they sell?
Let's say it's right. Let's say it's $1 million EBITDA business and you're out of it, right? And but it's just only $1 million in EBITDA, which again is not a lot of scale. And let's just say someone will pay 2 to 3 times for that. I mean, do you want to sell the golden goose or do you want to keep getting the eggs, right? That becomes a tough
Yeah.
equation. But I think if you certainly don't want to get a deal done, you go to market and you tell everyone that you want a valuation, you're this kind of, an agency is an agency. There could be a hot segment, but every sale has been valued generally the same for the history of time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you go to market and talk to people and your expectations are just nothing like the deals that are, I always say, market clearing prices. We hear a lot of rumors, right? We hear LOIs, 80% of deals I think don't close, right? So you hear a lot of headline LOI that didn't close. You don't know whether the headline number had earnouts or not. It could have had 5 or 6 years of earnouts, and so the only prices and comps you can use are what I call market clearing prices, not the rumor that your friend said or the LOI that your other friend said or otherwise.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Robert, what's the agency website people can go and check out?
Yeah, it's probably easier to Google than it is to spell it all out. It's accelerationpartners.com. Hopefully, if we're doing a decent job at SEO and you put Acceleration Partners, you will find us. Or I'm sure one of your SEO agencies listening will give us a call and offer to fix it up for us.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for coming on the show. And if you guys enjoyed this episode and you want to be around amazing agency owners that can see the things that you're not able to see and help you scale and grow and get to a point where you've really created the freedom in your agency where you're making the profit, you don't have to make all the decisions, you don't have to have all the risk, and your team is just, humming along. I'd love to invite all of you to go to digitalagencyelite.com. This is our exclusive mastermind for agency owners that are experienced. Go there now, and until next time, have a swank day.